night, Dada. We love you.
The other night, some guy, someone that I've known for a while, asked me if you can put some boxes inside my in my storage, right?
I just wanted to tell you that I love you and that I miss you and that I can't wait to see you in the morning.
And so we were going through the stuff, and we really got, and there's a baby in there.
Say bye, Dada.
There's a baby in there. I just seen the arm, and I just know it's a dead body.
It was the worst type of crime imaginable. After a lackluster attempt to hide it within a leased storage unit, the concealed body of a tiny child had been uncovered. In just a few seconds, you'll witness a dramatic scene as a terribly distraught woman slides off the couch, bends over, and appears to start praying. However, you'll soon learn that the horrendous tragedy behind this display of emotion could have easily been diverted if not for a twisted and shocking motive.
Yeah. Right when I opened it and I seen it work, I called you guys. Where are you?
It smells. It's gonna be a human. It's gonna be a human.
Yeah.
Just based on the smell and the appearance. So wait for Nutley.
Do we know if this guy has a kid? The guy that has the locker?
Charles, 29 report number, please.
No, we literally just got here.
Can you see that? So then in this container, there's like some decomp. And that smell, you're getting the smell a little bit. Sir, is it you and your wife that you live here also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there cameras? There's.
171, I'll have
There.
The responding officer is securing the area and awaiting the arrival of the sergeant so she can bring him up to speed.
It's a baby.
It is.
So we have the complainant detained. When I get here, he points to a blue barrel. He's like, it's in there, and I look in this blue barrel, and there's some decomp in there. It stinks. I'm like, what are you talking about? I keep checking. He's like, it's in there. I'm like, I see nothing in there. He's like, no, it's in that bag.
There's a bag in the barrel?
Like, there was a duffel bag. So he's like, I used that knife that's sitting on top of a box on his car to cut open that bag. And as soon as I saw the baby's arm, I backed away and called you guys.
Officers continue to secure the scene, and a chilling comment is made.
I'm wondering if there's more kids in that storage.
Yeah, we don't know.
We'll probably never find out.
I can tell you that I can pull the information of his friend for the U-Haul that he drove.
The U-Haul was driven by another subject?
Well, that's what he said. He said that's why they came back to look tonight, because he drove all the way here from Reno with only 3 boxes in it.
That'd be phenomenal. If you could get the license plate, that would be great.
I'll know everything about that as soon as I can get the guy's name.
We got a name of Tyler, but...
No last name?
Would that guy have checked in with you when he got here?
No, but if I can get a roundabout of where he rented in Reno, Tyler is not a very uncommon name.
Well, how would you end up having that? Oh, because it's U-Haul.
It's U-Haul.
Hey, Joe, how long have you known Tyler?
I first met him when I was in rehab in Lodge in Woodland. I first met him about 18 months ago. He started working there.
18 months?
Mm-hmm. Monday when that big box, whatever that is, in there.
Okay, with the blue thing in it was Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
And then later on he brought the stuff that's in the other unit?
Yeah, because I called him. I go, what's wrong with you, dude? Why are you so damn suspicious? Your wife needs, bring a buck. And I told him, I go, if you're trying to get caught, because I thought it was drugs.
Right.
If you're trying to get me caught up or something, because I just really got off from going to get a bunch of shit.
Right.
And I threatened him, I go, if there's something that I find in there, or if you're going to get me in trouble, he goes, no, I promise you, there's nothing in there.
Okay.
But he was acting weird, though. And then to rent a U-Haul with 3 boxes, that was really weird, too.
Okay. Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your daughter's the one that convinced you to open up?
Yep.
Okay. What nationality do you think Tyler is? Trying to block that spotlight from your face.
I think
Actually, I'll stand right over here.
I think he's black or Puerto Rican, something like that.
Is he darker than you?
Yeah.
Darker than you.
Well, not really darker than me. It's kind of like different shade of dark.
Okay.
So he's probably about like my height, and he weighs probably like 150.
So he's slim and short? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about him being married or anything like that?
He's married to that girl. Well,
he's married to somebody?
Yeah, he's married to that girl. That girl came with him.
Oh, there was a girl with him when he came yesterday?
And kids.
Oh, there was kids with him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And is she same look as him, maybe Puerto Rican?
Definitely black.
She's definitely black. But you don't have any idea what her name might be? Okay.
How long does your camera store?
Oh, we'll go way back.
Can you look up something for me?
Yeah. That's Joe at the gate.
So is that the Yaris or is that it right there?
That's the Yaris right there.
Okay, but not the guy we're interested. How do I hit pause?
Oh, just right there. Oh, you gotta be on it. Okay.
Make a mental note of the white car, as this will be important shortly.
Phone number to the guy we're looking for. Do you have it?
Yeah.
We need it because they can look up the number and get the name right here. So he's from Reno.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Driver's
24.
license.
Ooh.
So Friday the 11th, they showed up with the van and the hatchback. And then the 14th, the hatchback is with Joe. Okay.
So they ran his phone number through the computer system. This is what they came up with. So they got his driver's license number and everything. If you look on the other backside, that's his credit card that he's been using.
Oh,
He's using.
okay. So we'll just go with this name as our possible suspect. Send a message to Reno, give them that horsepower, and see if they can confirm an address for him there, or confirm that is a good address in Reno.
Sure.
Have the supervisor send a message over there. So what is her story as to why they decided to check things out today? Wasn't she the one that was telling her
She's been trying to convince her dad the whole time.
that something was wrong with the boxes?
No, he was not acting right.
And
She has no
she
relationship.
just thinks something's weird about him?
He's acting paranoid. She's
Okay.
He seemed really nervous, really paranoid. They leave.
All three?
She convinces Dad, hey, that dude's weird. I need to go over here and look and see what those boxes are.
Okay.
So she convinces Dad to come over here. They come down here together to look inside those boxes.
Okay.
Because she did not get a good vibe from him.
Sacramento's CSI and homicide units have just discovered that a most dreaded class of cases has landed in their laps. Based on the driver's license information provided by a manager of the storage facility, law enforcement has set their sights on a young man by the name of Tyler Anderson. The 23-year-old resides in Reno, Nevada. The Sacramento Police Department contacts their counterparts in Reno, Nevada, and it is soon established that Tyler is married to 23-year-old Avriana Anderson. Around this same time, back in Sacramento, police discover that Tyler's phone is pinging nearby. He's soon located and taken into custody. The Reno Police Department's Robbery and Homicide Unit dispatches 2 detectives to the apartment of Tyler and Avriana at approximately 1:30 p.m. on May 16, 2018. The day after first responders were dispatched to the horrendous scene at the storage facility. As Avriana grants the detectives entry to her Reno residence, the convoluted horror story slowly begins to unfold. Even at first glance, the apartment is noticeably unkempt. A mattress has sprung across the living room floor, and the kitchen is filthy and littered with spoiled food. Avriana agrees to travel to the main station of the Reno Police Department, where she will be interviewed by the detectives. Tyler, on the other hand, asks for an attorney shortly after a Sacramento detective informs him of his rights. It's not until July 5, 2019, after more than a year has passed, that Tyler emerges to explain his long-awaited version of events. Shortly after his arrest, though, he alluded to everything in a recorded prison phone call with his mother.
I hope that the truth comes out.
It's gonna come out. Like I said, it's gonna come out, and it's not gonna be what everybody wants to hear. It's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be the truth, and it is what it is.
Until then, detectives will enter the interrogation room to speak with Avriana, and the process of untangling this tragic mystery that transformed a storage unit into a horrific crime scene will get underway. Avriana is situated in a room that doesn't appear to be typical for an interrogation. It should be decorated as minimally as possible, but it appears that Avriana was brought into a soft interrogation room that's usually reserved for victims of a crime or children.
I feel good.
It's possible that Avriana is aware that she's being recorded or that someone is watching her, so she's trying to garner some sympathy before the interview has even started. In any case, Avriana will soon reveal exactly why it is that she's not feeling well. And let's just say it's not due to some sort of stomach bug.
You all right? Okay. All right, let's get this started so that we can...
The detectives are seated directly in front of Avriana with no barrier, such as a table, between them. This will allow them to fully observe her body language. The detective wastes little time. After a bit of small talk and rapport building, he gets down to the reason for this meeting.
Talked about earlier at your apartment is that Sacramento Police Department gave us a heads up that they're investigating what they believe is to be a homicide or some sort of suspicious death, okay? So they've asked our help to kind of facilitate this whole thing.
Okay.
The detectives then thank Avriana for coming down to speak with them and express their appreciation, which they're trained to do under the Reed technique. This makes the suspect more likely to want to continue being seen as cooperative. Of course, her level of cooperation will be subject to change as the detectives begin to press her for more information.
But the main thing we want to talk about, as my partner explained earlier, was your recent travels to Sacramento. Okay. So, just in your own words, can you just kind of explain what that's about?
Well, we went down there, honestly, to get something that I'm ashamed to talk about.
Okay. Well, we're not here to pass judgment, okay? It's not our job to do that.
Avriana explains that she and Tyler went to Sacramento and purchased cocaine. She's conveniently failing to disclose the most significant reason for their travels. The detectives are aware of this, but they play along and attempt to make Avriana comfortable by behaving very casually and stating they're not judging her for her admission.
When did you guys go down?
I don't remember the exact day, but it was damn near the day before yesterday.
Okay. What did you guys go down in?
When?
What did you guys take down there?
I think my husband took a dresser.
Just a dresser?
A few days ago. A dresser. I believe it was just a dresser.
Okay.
They continue on the subject of the dresser, and Avriana has confirmed that their children went along on the trip as well. Make a note of this, as it will be important later.
Where do you guys end up taking the dresser to?
To his friend's storage or something like that.
Do you know where that was?
No. I don't know the city. I don't know exactly.
What city was it in?
Sacramento.
In Sacramento?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know who this friend was
No, I don't. I don't know. That's how we're getting separated. You know, I don't really know him, I guess.
Avriana may be trying to distance herself from Tyler, possibly because she's planning to blame him for everything. Her potential defense being that she didn't know anything about what he did.
Yesterday, what did you do yesterday?
Coke. CBH.
Avriana may be trying to appear like she is being truthful and cooperative by revealing her illegal drug habits. However, her laughter before responding could be an indication that she's intentionally trying to show her indifference. She's confident that revealing her drug use won't get her in any trouble, despite revealing this information to the two detectives sitting in front of her.
Can you describe the guy that's this friend of Tyler's?
Mexican.
Okay.
Then a little older.
A little older than Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay. And how'd that go with your meeting him? Seem like a good guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you guys, is it his storage unit that you guys are putting it in, or is it somebody else's? Or?
Yeah, I think it was his.
Okay.
Yeah.
Avriana then confirms that the reason for storing items in Sacramento is because Tyler's plan is to return there, where his family resides after their impending separation.
Which kids went down with you?
It was me and my boys.
Okay. All right.
Is it Tyson?
Yes.
Okay. Where was there last time?
I don't know.
Cali is mentioned here for the first time. While Avriana claims not to know where the little girl is, the disturbing truth about what exactly happened will be brought to light before this very interrogation comes to an end.
So who is Cali's father? Do you know who Cali's father is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Do you know her name?
Yeah, you want me to say it out loud?
I really like to know. What's her name?
Leonie.
Leonie?
Yes.
How long has Tyler had custody?
We've had custody of her since, she's about 6 years.
Okay.
Because she's about to be 6.
Oh. So since she's baby, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's all around, TBH.
Okay.
She's all around.
Why do you say she's all around?
Because that's the kind of person she is.
Alright.
She's all around.
Drama.
Yeah, always drama.
Avriana definitely makes no attempt to hide her disdain for Leonie, Cali's biological mother. Tyler is more forthcoming with regards to Leonie and how their daughter Cali came to be. It's July 5th, 2019, more than 13 months after his arrest and Avriana's account.
I was with Leonie in Sacramento, staying with Brett when she got pregnant.
Just a couple months later, Avriana came along and Leonie had already left the picture.
I met Avriana in February of 2012. Started hanging out with her, right, spent my time with her. Found out that she was born in September. Told Avriana about it. She got upset, right? We got into this big fight. So I started using cocaine, and then...
At this point, Tyler violated his probation that had resulted from past substance abuse.
I went to a treatment program, New Foundations. So, staying with her mom, I wasn't there for her when she was born.
Tyler says that his mother brought baby Cali to meet him for the first time. Despite this normally being a joyous occasion, Avriana was not happy about this, to say the least.
You know, she wants us to spend time together. She and my mom were never... They never saw eye to eye. They never had a good relationship. So she was upset, and she was talking about me. So if you don't come back.
This type of threat is a form of manipulation and is an obvious red flag for an unhealthy relationship. Tyler tells the detective about another occasion where he spent time with Cali when he was granted a furlough for Christmas of 2012. This time, Avriana was livid. Yet upon his release in March of 2013, he moved into her apartment. Shortly thereafter, while Tyler was visiting Cali and his mother, Avriana attempted to take her life and landed herself in the hospital, according to Tyler. Avriana's jealousy toward Cali was a huge red flag that should have warned Tyler away early in the relationship. Yet he stayed with her. In the fall of 2013, while Tyler was in the process of seeking full custody of Cali, she went to live with her father and Avriana. At that time, she was just 13 months old, and they agree things were good in the beginning. In hindsight, however, this short span represented the calm before the storm that was quickly approaching.
So I go to work and then I leave with Avriana. I would come home and they would be playing, she would teach her how to read, she's teaching her how to walk. She's showing her how to cook, vacuuming, right? As a little vacuum, she's pushing it around. Everyone's showing a lot of love. They had a good relationship, in the beginning.
And we got her, and she was just a baby. And I just remember looking at her, and I'm like, oh my God, you're so cute. And I remember the first night we got her, I cried. I was holding her, and I cried. Because I was just like, she was just a baby, and I just love babies. But then she just looked like her dad, and I looked at her and felt like I'm going to love you, and I'm going to take care of you.
Avriana presented an idea to Tyler sometime in early 2014.
I think that we should get married so that we can solidify your chances of getting full custody.
Naturally, she disguised the real motive behind her proposition. According to Tyler, he believed that Avriana felt as if she was a mother to Cali and wanted to ensure she'd remain in their lives. It would turn out that this could not be further from the truth. In addition to wanting to get married, Avriana also wanted to have a child with Tyler. His mother had warned Avriana not to go playing house with her son. However, it seemed this was precisely her plan. A baby would further bind them together, and the already volatile situation would continue its trajectory toward inevitable disaster. Despite any trepidation Tyler may have felt, he went along with Avriana's plans.
The medication that she was taking, her bipolar depression medication, was probably the reason why she wasn't able to get pregnant. So she stopped taking that before we got married in 2014. So in January, she got pregnant with.
It's unknown if Avriana gradually stopped the medication she was allegedly taking under a doctor's orders. It's important to note that it can be dangerous to suddenly stop taking medications prescribed to treat mental health disorders, and it can cause a sharp increase in symptoms. The first son shared by Avriana and Tyler was born on Halloween of 2014. It was no coincidence that soon after, Tyler would arrive home from work to find Cali exhibiting noticeable injuries.
And I would ask Avriana how she got him, and she says, oh, she bumped her head because she was playing, or she's chasing her brother and she fell, or she's just clumsy like her dad,
Things would drastically worsen over time. Though Avriana's story was a bit different, the ugly truth was beginning to show itself.
I was raised on discipline, so if you talk back, I'm going to pop you in your mouth and tell you don't talk back.
Discipline, however, should never leave a bruise on a child. Research shows that physical punishment, such as spanking or hitting, has been linked to the child displaying increased negative behaviors, including aggression.
If she would do something that she wasn't supposed to do, I'd be like, okay, you're going to stand in the corner. You're 5. You'll stand in the corner for 5 minutes. Type stuff, like how I was raised. That's what, that's how I was raised. So I only go off how I was raised.
Avriana is clearly agitated. Her demeanor is confrontational and defensive. She's showing clear signs of discomfort. She's rubbing her arms, which is a self-soothing movement used by individuals who are beginning to experience increased anxiety. Tyler places blame for the abuse on Avriana as the primary caregiver. However, as her parent, he is legally and morally obligated to protect his child and remove her from an abusive environment. Tyler wasn't the only one who took note of Cali's injuries. His Aunt Maylene eventually contacted CPS. She claimed to have observed firsthand the physical abuse and neglect imposed on the little girl who was only 3 years old at the time. This particular chain of events started in April of 2015, when Tyler returned home from a day of attending college classes to find something quite unnerving.
It was Saran wrap. It had olive oil and Vaseline on it.
It was a terrible sight. Cali's tiny hand had been badly burned. When Tyler allegedly inquired as to how the injury had occurred, Avriana claimed that the water was too hot that morning when she had washed Cali's hands. The explanation was completely implausible. It wasn't an honest mistake, but rather an intentional, cruel act.
Avriana tells me, because her and my family are at odds, right, always. They're on and off, on and off. So she tells me that I have to tell my family that it was my fault, that I was the reason, because if I don't, then they already think that she's mean to Cali. So they're going to think that she's abusing her, right? They're too nice, they're too soft to their kids, they're too weak, right? Things like that. So we go to a get-together, maybe it was the 4th of July, maybe, and then, my aunt asked about her hand injury, and that's when I said I was mopping, and then I came in and put her hand in the water and got burned.
Not surprisingly, Tyler's Aunt Maylene didn't buy his story. Not at all. A few months later, at another family gathering that occurred on October 10th, Maylene, along with other relatives, were stunned when they observed that Cali appeared to have lost a significant amount of weight since the previous time they'd encountered her in July. According to Maylene, Cali was seen devouring food, even eating off plates that belonged to others. That was when Maylene contacted CPS. In mid-October of 2015, CPS met with Tyler and Avriana in their home. True to form, Avriana asked Tyler to accept blame for Cali's hand injury yet again.
CPS comes, I tell them the same thing, I was mopping, and then she put her hand in the water, and then I looked up how to heal a third-degree burn, right? Did everything I said. She was good to go, no pain.
The fact that Avriana manipulated Tyler into taking responsibility for his daughter's burned hand and Tyler agreeing to lie to his family and CPS shows the dynamic of their relationship and, if true, how he potentially favored his wife over the well-being of his own child. In addition to the concerns about potential abuse, Tyler's family also worried that Cali wasn't being fed.
His people have said, his family has said that she wasn't eating enough or something like that, and I think that's another reason why they called. But
why would they say that?
I guess because she was thin.
But thin was an extreme understatement.
What was the end result of them checking on you,
Everything was fine. They closed the case. They closed the case because she clearly wasn't being abused. You guys can't judge a book by its cover. You know, just because I'm depressed doesn't mean I'm abusing my daughter because she's disciplined. And that's what I told the CPS people. Okay. They talked to her, looked at her, checked her. Of course, everything was fine because I'm just disciplining her. I'm just little pops, okay? You know, you guys are making it seem like I'm punching her or
we're not making
No, not you guys, but his family. You know, they were making it seem like, I was abusing her. Oh, she's depressed. We need to send CPS over there. You know? So that's how that went.
It's typical drama.
Yeah.
You know, 2 days after, so CPS ends up leaving, you know, they say, okay, we don't see any signs of abuse, you know, because it was always loving to Rihanna, you know. So they thought everything was normal.
Actually, the report described the findings to be inconclusive. It also stated that the concern was that Tyler and Avriana were using excessive or inappropriate methods of discipline. The report hit the nail on the head, yet CPS dealings with the Andersons were discontinued. Things were building towards a horrific end in the time that followed. Still, Tyler gives more insight into the terrible things that were going on behind the closed doors of that apartment. Of course, he refused to put any blame on his own actions. There was the time that Avriana allegedly flew off the handle for no apparent reason and kicked him and Cali out of the home late one night. According to Tyler, this was a common occurrence.
You know, she's screaming outside the house, you know, get the out, don't have to come back, you know, take your dumb ass baby with you.
Of course, it must be noted that Tyler was well aware of this type of name-calling. A record of text messages within the lead detective's narrative confirms this. He continues with details of physical abuse Cali would encounter at the hands of Avriana.
She would use belts, she would use wooden spoons, she would use brushes and combs, you know, she wouldn't stop, you know, I'd have to stop her, you know, it's like, and Avriana would say that she's, you know, she pushed her brother, she punched her brother, she hit her brother. I told her that you can't use objects because you don't know how hard you're hitting them, you know what I'm saying?
It's like, you're not supposed to be your kid's friend. I mean, you can be your kid's friend, but you're supposed to be their parent first. Sure.
She had the belt, and then I get in front of her, and I'm holding Avriana back. You know, she's trying to climb over me to get the kid. And she's telling me, you know, you always save her. You know, you can't always save her.
As time went on, the cruel acts Avriana inflicted upon Cali continued to increase in severity. Tyler tells of one particular evening when he arrived home from work and encountered what could only be described as a terribly distressing sight. And yet the question why is still left unanswered for now.
I go to the bathroom, right? And she's in there, and she's talking in Maverick's cage.
Note that Maverick is the alleged family dog that Tyler claimed Avriana wanted, then left his care solely up to Tyler. He was kept in a kennel in the main bathroom at the Anderson apartment. Apparently, this was the alternative to imposing other physical abuse on Cali, since Tyler had allegedly told Avriana not to use her hands or objects as punishment toward Cali.
You know, and the first thing I do is get her out of the cage, you know. What is she doing? She's not crying. She's not crying, and she's not hurt, she's not bruised, right? You know, what the hell is she doing in this cage, you know? Avriana said that, you know, she pushed What is your brother?
Tyler appears to be hiding his eyes, which could be an indication of deception. Or it may be that he doesn't want to see the detective's reaction to what he is divulging. His claims concerning Avriana's behavior suggest she is unstable and impulsive. This may indicate the presence of a personality disorder, as this extreme behavior suggests that Avriana lacks empathy and remorse and has a poor moral conscience. Ultimately, we see that the abusive behavior continues to head in a tragic direction. The detectives return to a troubling issue, which they glossed over previously: Cali's unknown whereabouts.
Is that normal for her to be gone this long a time?
I sort of, because she would stay with his mom, and stuff like that.
Contrary to Avriana's claim, it's known that Cali never stays with Tyler's family. Things are beginning to become problematic for Avriana. They shift to Tyler and his involvement, or lack thereof, in the household, as he has been working 2 jobs.
What were this like normal working hours usually?
10 to 9, 10 to 8, 10 to 7.
Okay.
Like that.
The fact that Tyler is away from the home for so many hours of the day casts doubt on Avriana's claims that he was the primary caretaker of his daughter. Things just aren't adding up.
When did you actually last talk to Tyler? Today?
Well, right.
So it was 1.
Avriana called Tyler around 1 earlier that afternoon. She'd just woken up. It just so happens that she was sleeping off her most recent round of cocaine.
And you ask him where he was at that time?
No.
No?
No.
Just didn't care? Or?
I was half asleep, TBH, so I was like, I really just wanted to go back to sleep.
Did Tyler ever tell you when he was supposed to come back home?
I don't know that. I feel like that probably he could have been going to get her.
Okay. Did you see where he was going to get her from?
No.
No.
But detectives know that was definitely not the case. As they seem to have hit a wall, they light a little fire under Avriana.
We just got more. We got a phone call and we got some information, more information. You're talking to Tyler. Okay. Your daughter, she wasn't at somebody else's house. She was at your apartment this entire last week and this entire time since you guys have moved here. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's living with you guys, right? It's the 5 of you.
But she doesn't seem fazed. Despite their questions, the detectives already know the child is deceased. What they don't yet know, however, is what caused her death and to what extent Avriana was involved. They also need to determine the disturbing motive behind the death. They quickly touch on another important element of the case they are methodically building.
Has she been sick at all recently?
No, not that I know of.
Didn't go to the doctor's office to get looked at for anything?
No.
Has she at all recently?
No.
But she's 5 years old, though.
Yeah.
When's the last time she went to any kind of a physical or any kind of doctor?
Probably when we lived in Woodland.
Okay.
Of course, Avriana has another excuse as to why everything has deteriorated. She adds an interesting detail to her account of recent events.
I've been absent lately.
You've been absent? How do you say that? What do you mean by saying that?
Mentally. Like, my mind just hasn't been there.
Okay.
Like...
What's going on in your mind?
Just been going through a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I feel like I don't have anybody to talk to.
Alright. Well, we're here to listen to you right now.
That's why I wanted to coke.
Okay.
It's possible that Avriana's admission is her way of trying to deflect responsibility or explain her neglect of their sons in Cali. The detective leans in toward Avriana now and has his elbows on his knees. This is done to show that he is engaged and he wants to try to get her to mirror this open demeanor. Often suspects will assume this position when they confess. Avriana fails to confess, but she does explain more about cocaine's recent role in their lives.
My relationship has been and that's what we used to do back in the day, with each other. We used to do that, and I felt connected to him. Doing that makes me feel connected to my husband.
So you and Tyler do cocaine quite a bit lately?
We have been.
Okay. So what usually happens after you guys do that kind of stuff?
We talk. I know it sounds crazy, but we talk.
What do y'all talk about?
She makes a powerful statement when she reveals the dire condition of their relationship. The drug use, which she alleges has very recently become a regular habit, just adds more fuel to the already raging fire. However, this is a common theme in relationships between addicts. When they aren't using, they have nothing that connects them. Tyler's version is different. There's much more to these supposed drug-induced chats than bonding.
And she just said she's done terrible things that she can't apologize for, you know.
These aren't the only times Avriana confesses her deepest, darkest, most horrifying secrets. In fact, she also makes a shockingly damning statement to the police.
All my kids are small.
Yeah.
I mean, all our kids are small. And even her, she's not fat. But you see my 4-year-old, he's not. I have small kids. But I think it's Tyler's genes. Well, you see us, we're both short, so I don't know. But yeah, she ate.
She's been eating normally?
I'd say.
After such a slip of the tongue, it's clear that Avriana knows much more than she's letting on. Just how much does she know? That's the million-dollar question. But detectives are determined to get to the heart of it. They soon sense that it's time to try a different tactic. This one is sure to throw Avriana off.
I'm no bullshit here, okay? We're talking to Tyler. All right? And we're getting a different version than from what you're saying. And if we're going to go with what he's saying and just his side of the story, that's not fair to you.
When the detective attempts to play Avriana against Tyler, he's using a self-serving tactic intended to motivate Avriana to tell her side of the story. As Avriana and Tyler are the only living individuals who know the truth behind Cali's death, Avriana has to wonder if Tyler is really talking.
We're trying to look at you and find out what's her side, because there's always two sides to the story.
The question she poses to the detective in response to his claim clearly shows her apprehension, and her reaction definitely is not lost on the detectives. The detective doesn't answer Avriana's question, but changes the subject and inquires as to how long she's been absent. They suspect there's a direct correlation between her supposed disconnection and Cali's death.
You've been disconnected for the past how many, what would you say, weeks, months?
Probably longer.
Okay. Well, I see you counting with your fingers.
Yes,
So there's something significant that occurred, or something significant, or something where you're gauging it with your fingers, like, okay, since this time, it's been this many months. So what is that? How many months?
I mean, really, probably after I had my son.
Okay.
Avriana and Tyler's second son was born the previous October, 6 months earlier. It seems those last several months were quite a whirlwind. A new baby in addition to 2 other small children to care for. And all the while, balancing a dark secret. Detectives are starting to make some headway. Avriana's story has suddenly changed. Now she claims that over the past few months, Cali has been complaining of stomach pain and was vomiting roughly twice a month. Of course, she wasn't taken to a doctor for any type of evaluation.
Dang, I like the home remedies.
What kind of home remedies would you try?
I don't know, what was on there. It was on the internet, I guess.
Okay, so what did you try from the internet?
As far as her throwing up? Watching what she ate.
Tyler takes us to the month of April, just a few weeks before police were dispatched to Joe's storage unit, and gives his account of Cali's recent health issues.
You know, she looked up a lot of stuff online, and she said, you know, I'm a family doctor, you know, I take care of my family, I'm a stay-at-home mom, you know, that's what I do. You know, I can figure it out, right, so.
How are you disconnecting yourself? How do you disconnect yourself from?
I just let everybody else deal with her. I'm just like, okay. Like, I just feel tired.
Mm-hmm. But you being disconnected, do you think that's part of her health not doing so good?
To me, being the reasons for her health, I guess so.
The detectives are now establishing and getting on record Avriana's knowledge that Cali had potentially developed an illness recently, and Avriana did nothing to help her. And obviously, there was no home remedy that could save Cali. The detectives apply more pressure as they confront Avriana. They've grown tired of going around in circles with her.
So, an important question too, like we've asked, and we'll ask, we're going to ask you, where is your daughter?
I don't know, honestly.
Well, here's the thing. You told us, earlier, Tyler took her to his people, okay? We know that's not the case. Okay?
How do you know?
We know.
No, I'm saying, like, what are you saying?
What we're saying is that we know that you and Tyler both took her over to California. So that's why I'm asking. You come back here without your daughter? Why don't you come back with your daughter? You come back with, but you don't come back with her. Why?
We see the detectives utilize a step of the Reed technique known as positive confrontation here. When they confront Avriana with the fact that they know Cali didn't come back from California, she averts her eyes and is silent. If she truly had nothing to do with Cali's disappearance, she likely would have adamantly denied it instead of sitting in silence. As Avriana appears to be contemplating something, perhaps a confession, she poses the next question.
You guys talked to Tyler?
Yes. And my concern with Tyler would be if he is saying something that is putting it on you. That's my concern. So I want to get...
Is that what he's doing?
I want to get your version and your side independently.
The detectives finally make it known that her act isn't working, and, like Avriana, they're also privy to some horrendous information.
So what do you guys know?
We know about the bags. We know about the barrel.
We know about the storage unit.
We know about the storage unit.
We know about your trip.
Okay.
There's no going back at this point. It's out in the open now.
So how did it happen? What happened?
I don't know what. But I tried.
That day or that night, what did he say happened? What did he tell you?
That's crazy.
The idea of revealing what happened to Cali seems to bring up real emotion, but it may just be that Avriana is only concerned for herself and is aware that she's likely going to jail after this interview. The latter is a more likely explanation given her demeanor up to this point. It's also likely that she's thinking of her two biological children, as she knows she's at risk of not being able to see them again. Whatever the explanation may be, we'll finally hear two accounts of the recent events surrounding the death of little Cali. Unspeakable details will be brought to light, but the lack of consensus between the stories will leave you reeling, wondering where the horrific truth actually lies. Please be forewarned, the details you're about to hear are quite disturbing.
I come back in at around 5.
Tyler continues listing off the chores he did upon arriving home, including cleaning up after and walking the dog.
And then she said, there's nobody to show you. So I said, what is it? And then she goes in her room and she brings out in her hands, in her arms, loose lifeless, limp, lifeless. And she wasn't breathing. So I started doing CPR.
Try what?
Trying to help.
How did you try to help her?
CPR.
CPR. Okay. Who was doing CPR?
Me.
You?
We both were.
You both were.
You both were trying? How long did you try for?
So long.
Tried doing stomach compression, you know, trying to force air into her lungs, right?
I don't remember how much time went by. But it's just so long. It was unbelievable.
It was complete chaos, as Tyler describes it, amongst his attempts to administer CPR, the dog's panicked barking, and the other two children crying out for their parents behind the closed door of a bedroom.
I keep trying CPR, you know. I told her it's not working, you know. We need to call an ambulance.
She got for so long, my hands are hurting.
She said, no, you're not going to call an ambulance, you know. I can't go to prison, you know. If you call an ambulance, I'm going to kill you, you know. You have to save your daughter, you know CPR, you know. You're certified, you have a card, you know. You have to save your daughter.
I was so upset with Tyler. Because he said he knew CPR. He said he knew CPR. You'd always talk about, yeah, I got my CPR card or whatever.
Did you call anyone? Call 911? Why?
It's probably family or friends. Why not?
So I grabbed my phone. I said, I'm going to call the ambulance, man. I can't help her, you know. And she snatches the phone from me. She throws it at the pantry or at the wall right next to the pantry, whatever. It hits the floor and it's...
Tyler then claimed that he attempted to leave the apartment to seek help from a neighbor, but Avriana blocked the door and prevented him from leaving.
My heart's beating out of my chest, you know, and I'm just talking, you know, please breathe, you know. Please just breathe, you know. If she's not breathing, it's not working, she's not responding, she's not talking, you know. Her eyes are open, but she's not blinking, you know. I don't know how much time passed, you know, between that and when I stopped, maybe it was an hour and a half, maybe it was 3 hours, I don't know.
It was too late.
Eventually, you know, I put my ear to her heart, you know, I thought I heard her heart stop beating, you know. She was dead, you know. I don't know. There was just a lot going on, but she was dead, you know, and I'm holding her in my heart, and she's dead, you know. And they kind of started, you know, crying. Saying that I let her die, you know, I couldn't save her. That was my fault.
Avriana stepped away and checked on the other children at this point.
So I go, and I have a duffel bag, I put it in the duffel bag.
Who took care of that?
Me.
So you didn't put her in the bag?
Yeah.
Did he tell you what he was going to do?
Avriana had tended to their boys while he'd placed Cali in the bag.
After they were settled, she went to the bathroom to smoke. Maverick's in there, and she called me in there.
So kind of walk us through what was the game plan? Or what did you guys come up with?
It wasn't really a plan.
She's asking me, you know, what are you going to do, Tyler? What's your plan, you know? This is your fault. You gotta fix this. I told her, I need to tell somebody, you know, I need help, you know. I need help, and she said, no, you're not going to tell anybody. If you tell somebody, her brothers are going to get taken away, you know. This is God's plan, you know.
Though Tyler and Avriana both alleged that there was really no plan to handle the situation initially, the efforts to cover up Cali's death commenced immediately. They began by removing evidence from their home, including the rug where Cali lay during the alleged CPR and a sweater of Tyler's that he placed over her when it was confirmed that she was dead.
So Avriana says she wants to take the stuff and throw it away somewhere. And she's not going to allow me to stay because she doesn't trust me. You know, she thinks I'm going to call the police on her. So she said, you have to come with me so that I know that you won't turn me in, you know.
To make matters even worse, they had the audacity to leave their infant and toddler sons alone in the apartment. In addition, Tyler has admitted to committing the crime of tampering with evidence by disposing of the items in a dumpster. The horror continued in the days following Cali's death. Tyler asserts that the day after Cali died, Avriana had devised a plan to cover it all up. And as you're about to hear, it's absolutely diabolical.
She wants to go to California, and she wants to burn the body under a bridge near Woodland. And I tell her, no, you know, I'm not doing that, you know. And she said, remember what I told you last night, you know, I'm doing this my way, and if you get my way, I'm going to kill you, you know. I'm not going to prison for this. I'm not losing my sons, you know. I didn't think I was safe. I didn't think my sons were safe, you know.
Tyler is rationalizing his behavior, but his claim about how he didn't feel that he or his sons were safe doesn't fit with going along with Avriana's plan to get rid of the child's remains. If you found that plan disturbing, you'll be appalled at Avriana's ideas that came next.
And then she said, matter of fact, I should just put the bag in the Sacramento River, you know, leave it on the train track, you know. Then she said no, because even if she gets ran over by a train, they can still identify her, you know. So she said no, I'm just going to burn her body, you know.
The thought that Avriana allegedly concocted such barbaric ways to dispose of Cali's body is beyond comprehension. She even devised a morbid plan to ensure Tyler wouldn't abandon her or turn her in during the interim between Cali's death and her body being left at the storage unit.
I dropped him at the house. I tried to take the duffel bag back inside, and she said, no, you're not putting that in my house, you know. You're going to keep that with you know, so that if you try anything, I'm going to be able to call the police and tell them that you have a body in your trunk. I can't in the trunk, in the duffel bag.
Is that you keep a body and you go to work?
She tells me
that's her. I'm guessing that's her version of having leverage on you,
right,
but not call the police. You know, you got a complete and ample opportunity to do so. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, she stays at home and is keeping her kids hostage. Is that how you're looking at it?
Right.
Cali's body remained in Tyler's vehicle for more than 2 weeks. Apparently, Avriana had poured carpet deodorizer over the receptacles that held her tiny body.
She told you why she did that?
So that it wouldn't smell.
Okay. Did that work?
No.
The sickening situation was taking its toll on Tyler. At least, that's his claim.
She saw Avriana you resign?
Yeah, and she said, no, you're not. You're going to get a bin so that you can get accident, so that I can put body in accident.
Tyler followed through and got the bin. He explains what came next.
All this animosity, just trying to relax, just trying to buy time.
And what did you come up with?
I'm going to contact somebody who I know will know that something's wrong with me. Joe Garcia knew, because he knew me. He could see something was wrong. I asked questions that raised red flags so that he would start to say something's going on. That's the only thing I could come up with.
That's a huge risk to take, huge gamble. I mean, again, I'm not the what-if police here, but had he not, what's the plan at that point?
I just had a strong belief that he would.
Tyler's story continues along the same illogical path it's been traveling down. The detective asks why Tyler went back to Sacramento on the day after Cali's remains were located in Joe's unit.
Okay, but what's your reasoning for going down there on the day you got in custody? Okay, like,
to get caught. I had a strong feeling that he would look at night or the next day because of the breadcrumbs that I'm leaving, right? The suspicions I'm raising. His daughter's worried, right? She's there, so she's wondering what the hell's going on. So I knew that he would look. I just knew he would look.
So you were counting on being caught that day?
Yeah.
Tyler portrays himself to be a victim of the situation, but it's clear that he was deeply involved. After all, starvation doesn't occur overnight. In fact, the CPS investigation confirms that there were concerns about Cali having been malnourished years before she died. Evidence is clearly suggesting that this was no accident or illness, but rather a calculated plan. In addition to information detectives obtained from the CPS report and the interrogations, 2 compelling accounts from witnesses emerged. Both revealed the horrifying true story about what actually happened to Cali behind the closed doors of Avriana and Tyler's apartment. It all began when Jayla, an old friend of Avriana's, traveled to Reno for a visit in early December of 2017.
So Avriana would get with Jayla and start to drink, and they call me in the middle of the night, not in the middle of the night, like 11 p.m., 12 maybe, to come pick them up, take them back home. Jayla sleeps in the living room, and then Avriana and me are in the bedroom.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Except Tyler left a few important elements out of his story.
Jayla telling investigators that she saw your boys in the apartment, but she never saw you. Where was he at?
It was in her room.
Okay.
She asked Avriana told her she was at daycare.
Tyler is likely rubbing his foot in an attempt to release nervous energy. He's feeling uncomfortable about discussing where Cali supposedly was during this visit.
Where was the dog at?
The dog was in the cage in the bathroom.
Okay. Did you let her see the dog?
No. Because we just got it, and he was not very friendly at that time.
However, it just so happens that Avriana had described the family dog quite differently.
Did you give the kids?
Oh, yeah. Maverick?
Not a vicious dog?
No, he's not vicious. Not at all. Not at all. Sweetest little boy. So sweet, but he gets on my nerves.
Tyler's claims that they kept their dog caged within the bathroom and that it was never seen or heard by a house guest isn't plausible. The detective digs deeper into the issue of Cali's whereabouts during Jayla's visit.
At the time that you were at the apartment, Tyler, did you ever look at her room?
I was sleeping.
At all hours of the day?
When I was there.
But Jayla stayed the night, right?
Yeah, she left in the morning.
Okay.
It was roughly 1 month after Cali's body was found that Jayla spoke with the detective. Her story was chilling. Jayla stayed at the apartment for only 1 night, but it was more than ample time to observe that things were terribly wrong. Of the apartment's 2 bathrooms, she was only permitted to enter the one located in the master bedroom. The other bathroom was strictly off limits, as Tyler and Avriana were housing their vicious dog Maverick within the confines of its walls. At least, that's the excuse Tyler and Avriana had concocted, according to Jayla. It's interesting to note that this completely conflicts with Avriana's previous statement, that Maverick is the sweetest little boy and great with children. Jayla never saw the dog nor heard noises from him while there. She also never saw Cali, but did see Tyler and Avriana's little boys, whom Avriana doted on. Jayla attested to the fact that Avriana harbored hatred toward Leilani due to the pure and simple fact that she had given birth to Cali. Tyler, having gained custody of Cali, wasn't enough. In her efforts to deprive Leilani of merely watching her little girl grow up from a distance, Avriana forbade any posting of pictures and videos of Cali on social media. This behavior Jayla describes as definitely consistent with the idea that perpetrators of domestic violence often show very jealous and possessive behaviors, evidenced by her feelings toward Leilani. During Jayla's short visit, the 2 also met up with Tyrese, an acquaintance who had attended high school with both women. The detective caught up with him several months later in January of 2019, And boy, did he have a scandalous story to tell. He told officers that he and Avriana allegedly engaged in an affair from December of 2017 through February of 2018. Tyrese estimated that they had secretly met more than 20 times at Avriana and Tyler's apartment. Part of his story mirrored Jayla's. He too was forbidden from entering the main bathroom. Avriana's excuse at this time was that it was dirty and messy. Unlike many of her other statements, this particular one held some truth, based on the condition of the apartment when the detectives arrived to speak with Avriana. Tyrese stated that he witnessed the two little boys in the apartment during his visits. However, he never saw so much as a trace of Cali. According to Avriana, she was at Grandma's house. Of course, we know this to be a lie. Evidently, Tyrese had been following the media's reporting on the case. At one point during his interview, Tyrese broke down stating, "She did that. That is so wrong. The did that for so long. She would not let me in that room." With these two witness accounts in mind, there is a strong possibility that Avriana and Tyler kept Cali imprisoned within the main bathroom. Maybe they sedated her with medication so she wouldn't cry and couldn't be heard by Jayla or Tyrese. It's also a possibility that Cali was so sick due to being chronically malnourished that she wasn't physically able to yell or cry, and Avriana and Tyler didn't want anyone to bear witness to her alarming physical condition. In addition to neglect, Cali's subjection to cruel, relentless abuse was, sadly, the only life she ever knew. Shortly after Cali's death, Tyler reveals that he and Avriana used cocaine, during which he alleged Avriana revealed her deepest, darkest secrets and the truth about Cali's death.
She would, because I would call when I would be at work when we're staying out here. I'm working 2 jobs, I'd call to talk to my kids, because I miss them. I hardly spend time with them. And she said that she would leave in her room, and when I called, she would go in there and she'd give Callie the phone, and I'd be on speakerphone, and she'd be telling her what to say to me, that she's playing with her brother, and that she's eating, that she's watching TV, and Avriana said she would have her lie, and she would leave her in there.
Leave her in where, I'm sorry?
In her room. And then, she said she would cry out for you, and Avriana would go in there and tell him, "Your daddy doesn't love you, nobody loves you. The person that gave birth to you doesn't even love you, Your daddy doesn't love you, if he did, he'd be here with you. So shut the f up, She would close the door on him."
This gut-wrenching account of emotional and verbal abuse would be extremely damaging to a child. Cali likely felt very isolated, as if she was an outsider.
And she said that, when I would find bruises on her in Woodland, and Avriana would say she bumped her head, or, she fell, or she was playing with her brother. Avriana said that she would be physically abusing her, and she would make her lie to me. And she would put frozen vegetables. She would put frozen vegetables on her to try to make the bruises go away before I get home, but she would cover them up.
It's possible that Tyler knew about the abuse the whole time, but is claiming that he only found out the true extent of it after his daughter had died, as he may think that makes him less responsible for what happened. Yet the detective shows Tyler a sequence of photos that will make it even more difficult for Tyler to plead ignorance to the horrors that were occurring inside the home.
This was a living situation. The weeks after death.
You saying, was it like this?
Yeah, was it like this? No. Was it like this when you left that morning?
Wasn't this bad? No.
Is there a reason why this piece of furniture is blocking the bathroom?
I was in her room. I was in was cleaning everything up. So there's all kinds of empty cleaning product bottles in the bathroom across from him. Was just used to kind of, that's to clean up my dog's messes. All that bleach and cleaning material, that's for the dog? Yeah. Okay. The reason why there's all this food and for the dog. The donuts were for the dog? Yeah. Pizza for the dog? Yeah. I ran out of dog food. At any time. Was in his bathroom and that food given to her? No. In that fashion? Not that I know of, no. Not that you know of? No.
There are photos of Callie's clothing and few belongings that have been left in the bathtub.
Can you tell me about this? I don't really understand. She put it in there to leave for storage? I don't know. I mean, were you going in you said you take care of the dog every day, right? Right. You go in this bathroom where the dog crate is, and the dog is in the crate every day, correct? Mm-hmm. And when you go in the bathroom, are you seeing belongings in there? Yeah. You do? Not all of the stuff, but yeah.
Clearly, it's very possible that the crate and food in the bathroom were for Callie and not the dog, who seems to be the scapegoat for some of the compelling evidence. Even the existence of a dog still isn't entirely clear. The detective asks Tyler the direct question he's been building up to.
Do you think deep down she hated her? Or do you think that she had some sort of animosity with her even after all these years?
She always said I was supposed to have your first child, and I can never see myself being with a man who has a baby, and I'm not a stepmother and things like that.
She would make those statements to you that she's not a stepmother and your guys' baby should have been the first instead of...
No.
Okay.
And with that, the motive behind this whole catastrophe is finally confirmed. And it's consistent with information Jayla also provided. Avriana harbored a pure hatred for little Callie. It had manifested from the unwarranted contempt she'd always harbored toward Leonie, and it was revealed in the abuse she inflicted on her daughter. As the interview was nearing a close, the detective confronts Tyler on what was arguably the most disturbing aspect of Callie's condition when her body was discovered. As you can recall, the responding officers at the scene of the storage facility referred to Callie as an infant at times.
Yo, buddy.
So how old the kid was, or young? I mean,
Very young, like months. We're talking 6 months-ish or less.
oh, so definitely born in your life for a while.
Oh yeah, wearing looks like jammies or something like that.
She didn't look sickly to me. She wasn't a skeleton.
Horrifyingly so, Callie was a mere 16 pounds, according to the medical examiner. Clearly, she was the size of an infant at just a few months shy of her 6th birthday. She died an excruciating death of starvation that was a long, drawn-out process. It's likely the misery spanned 3 agonizing years. With this revelation, Avriana's interview isn't ending in the way she'd hoped, as you'll see.
Here's the deal. It's still an ongoing investigation, all right? We as detectives have to do our due diligence for the sake of this entire case, and for the sake of, okay? There's still some things that we need to wait on for the autopsy and things of that nature. But at this moment in time, right now, we're going to go ahead and book you at our county jail, okay? For child neglect. For child neglect, okay? That's going to be your charge. All right? What's that?
I just want to die. Because now I'm away from my kids. What did Tyler say?
I don't know all that he said, okay? Start out waiting for what he said to the other detectives down there, okay?
He can tell you guys. I don't deserve to go to jail for this.
Avriana is just now realizing that she will face punishment for what she has done.
Oh, but what did I do to deserve this? What did I do, God? everything that you've asked me to. I've done everything that you asked me to, God. Why do I deserve this?
Not once in all the hours of interrogation did Avriana show this kind of remorse for Cali. This emotion is only for herself. In the end, there was a small semblance of justice for the little girl whose life had only consisted of suffering. Tyler eventually gave up on his claims of ignorance and reverted back to his original story. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 10 years. Avriana Enoch, formerly Anderson prior to the couple's divorce in August of 2019, had a different outcome. She stood trial in late July of 2021 after a judge rejected her proposed plea agreement. On August 5th, she was convicted of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years.